Yeah, the more you put into it, the more you will save, right? It's like anything, but the thing is, right, being based in Savannah, it's expensive to fly out of here, and JetBlue has really helped flights to New York and Boston. You'll notice the prices are relatively competitive, and they've brought the prices down on Delta and the other airlines as well. So it's fantastic for all of us. I call it the JetBlue effect. Before, you may have heard of the Southwest effect. When Southwest comes into a city, prices for everything come down. It's because they offer things at a more competitive price, and the other airlines need to compete. So something to consider is, because JetBlue flies to New York or JetBlue flies to Boston, look to try to originate that international flight out of New York or out of Boston. Because a lot of times you'll find international airlines that'll have fare sales originating in those cities. So for example, if you wanted to fly WOW Air or you wanted to fly Iceland Air, and you can get a great deal out of Boston, but they don't fly to Savannah. So what you could do is you could book a separate ticket from Savannah up to Boston or Savannah up to New York, and I've seen tickets as low as $120 round trip, and having family in New York and Boston, that's fantastic. But then piece together that other fare, which might be $400 or $500. So yeah, you're paying for two tickets, but it's still a lot less than paying $1,000 or $1,200 for that same ticket that you would pay if you booked it with United or Delta out of Savannah.